Welcome to the Knowledge Find Attributes. Today we are going to introduce a new playlist that is Devops interview questions. It is organized to prepare for the interview question for the position that is DevOps engineer. If you are going to attend an interview for a DevOps engineer job, you need to prepare for the interview first. So this is a rough interview question. It includes 110 questions. We will discuss the questions in the upcoming videos by 10 questions. So you can prepare the interview questions and be ready for the attending interview for 2023. Before moving to the question, first you need to know about what is DevOps engineer. All of them known about the DevOps and few of them not known much about the DevOps engineering. So we need to give the proper definition for the DevOps engineer, and we need to tell the responsibilities of DevOps engineer. A DevOps engineer is a professional who combines the skills of a software developer and a system administrator to enhance the continuous integration, delivery, and deployment of the software applications. So, he or she is the person. He or she will combine the skill of a software developer and the system administrator. Mainly, the DevOps engineers works to automate the software development and deploy the process using several tools with the containerizations and the monitoring. At the end, they will ensure that the software, whether it is delivered quickly with proper manner. And that is the responsibilities of the DevOps. And according to the software development, they need to collaborate with among the team, and they need to participate in the continuous improvement of the software. And the DevOps should possess the professional skill plus technical skills. Which may, under the technical skill, DevOps need to know how to use the monitoring tools, and upon the professional skill, they need to do the teamwork in a collaborative manner with proper administration skills. Let me start the first question. The first question is, what do you know about DevOps? Actually, the answer that you need to say to the interviewee, that is, it must be simple and straightforward. And then you can continue with your own explanation, such begin by explaining growing importance of DevOps in IT industry, which means nowadays only the DevOps engineering are improving. So in previous days, there is no position for a DevOps engineering. So you can say like this manner, nowadays only it will growing, and in the software industry providing few importance to the DevOps. Then you can discuss how such an approach aims to synchronize and efforts and development, and how the operation teams helps to accelerate the delivery of the software products among the software team with a minimal failure rate. So that is the answer you need to say for the question. The second question is, how is DevOps different from Agile methodology? On the software development methodology, I have already told about Agile methodology in another playlist. So this is the software development methodology. Let me compare and contrast, which means the different, which means the contrast. So first let me see what is DevOps. The DevOps environment brings the development and operation team to work together. And according to the result of the DevOps culture, we can observe the continuous development, testing, integration, deployment, and monitoring throughout the software lifecycle. The software lifecycle, which means we are starting from the requirement analysis, then we move to the designing, then we are starting the development, then we are testing, then we are deployment, then we need to maintain. That is the 7 phase of software development lifecycle. So, through the software development lifecycle, the DevOps culture should bring the continuous development, testing, integration, deployment, and monitoring. So that's the thing. And here, this is the picture that shows this is the development team, this is the operation team, which means DevOps. Both should work together, and actually the development team prepare the code and they will deploy this to the production environment. The production environment, which means that is the place where the end user can use the end software. So after the continuous deployment of the new code from the development team, the operation team should recognize whether the code is deployed in the correct manner. They should monitor. So this will continue with continuous monitoring. And when we concern the agile software development methodology, it focuses on iterative and incremental, which means the continuous release and small rapid releases of software along with the customer feedback. So it addresses gaps and conflict between the customer and developer. The agile methodology introduced to decrease the conflicts between the customer and developers. So the agile methodology starts with the software requirement analysis, then the next part is developing, then the next part is testing, then only we can deploy the software. So that is the agile solution between the customer software requirement and the development and testing. And here under the agile methodology, there is the wall between the software development and the monitoring. There, the operations are not monitored during the software requirement analysis. But when we take the DevOps, after the software requirement analyze, they need to develop the software and they need to test the software. From the developing and from the testing, they need to monitor the operation and they need to maintain the IT infrastructure. So that is the major thing you can observe from the 2 pictures. And the third question is, the interviewer can ask, which are some of the most popular DevOps tools? You can list so much of tools available and we can use as a DevOps tools, but I listed few. The one is Selenium, the second one is Puppet, the third one is Chef, fourth one is Jet, fifth one is Jenkins, sixth one is Ansible, and seventh one is Docker. Actually, most of the industrial companies are using the Jet, and also the individuals also nowadays using Jet, and Jenkins also almost all are working with Jenkins and Docker also. So let me discuss those tools with another question. The fourth question is, what are the different phases in DevOps? The DevOps culture also has different phases, which mean different parts. First phase that is planning. Under the planning, you need to start with the proper plan of the application, which means the software, which means the requirement that you given from the customer. Then you need to decide how you are going to develop your system. Then you need to draw a rough picture of the development process along with the diagrams. Then only you will get the idea. The second phase is code. After the planning completion, you need to start coding to develop the system, and you need to deliver the end product according to the end user requirements. End user, which means the client or a customer. After the coding, you need to build the application by integrating various codes from the previous steps, which means in the company there are a lot of employees are working. So the entire system will be clustered, and all of the functionality has been allocated to several employees. So at the completion of the software, you need to build and merge all the code, and you need to prepare the entire system. That is the thing. And another step is testing. After building the software, you need to ensure whether the built software has been valid and it has been fulfilled the requirement which is given by the customer. And then you need to integrate the multiple codes from a different programmers and integrate it into one. I have already told another building. Another thing is deploying. After the testing, if the product does not have any bugs, then you need to deploy your software to the customer. Then only customer will check and accept the software whether it has been built correctly. So during the deployment also, you can use the cloud environment, and you can push any changes, and these changes not affect to the functioning of the software. And you need to monitor the web traffic. That is also the thing. And another phase is operate. Operations are performed on the code if required. It is not a mandatory phase. If you are required, then only you need to go through this phase. The last phase is monitor. According to the monitoring, you need to monitor the performance of your system. If you have changed any functionality according to the requirement, you need to recheck and monitor whether those changes are made to meet the end user requirements. So this is the diagram to represent and explain the fourth question. You need to plan and code, build, and then test. According to the plan, you can create the code, and you need to integrate all the codes, and then after the verification of the testing only, you can deploy the software. Then you need to operate and monitor. That is the phase of DevOps. The fifth question is, mention some of the core benefits of DevOps. We can classify these core benefits into two categories. They are technical benefits and business benefits. Under the technical benefits, we can explain the continuous software delivery. If you are working in a software company, you need to deliver the software continuously, which means if you are build the specific part or feature, you need to deliver the specific feature only to the customer. Then only the customer will verify the built feature is valid or not. Then another thing is less complex problems to manage. We are detecting the problems in the earlier stage or a part by part. So the problems is less and it has less complex. And early detection and faster correction of defects also the better benefits, because the develops are the monitoring and they are administrating, so they will detect the issues and then they can correct the issues. Let me consider the business benefits. We can deliver the features in the fast manner, and here the operating environments are stable because they are monitored and they are creating the production environment according to their needs, so that is stable. And the DevOps are the person to collaborate among the developers and the testers, and so which means they improve the communication and collaboration between the team members. The sixth question is, how will you approach the project that needs to implement DevOps? Let's we see. It will classify it into stage one, three stages: stage one, stage two, stage three. Under the stage one, it is an assessment. If the system has any of the existing process and implementation, you need to think about 2 or 3 weeks and identify the areas of improvement. Then only the team can create the roadmap for the implementation. After the creation of the roadmap, under the stage 2, you need to create a proof of concept, that's called POC. After the creation of the POC, once it is accepted and approved, then only the team should start the actual implementation and roll out the project plan. Some case we are creating the roadmap as a rough plan, but unfortunately the actual implementation and expected implementation does not miss much. Does not match. So according to that, you need to roll out your project plan. And in the stage 3, the project is now ready for implementing DevOps by using the version. Then you need to check the version control, integrations, testing, deployment, delivery, monitoring, and you need to follow the steps under the software development life cycle. So let me discuss the seventh question, that is, what is the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? Under the continuous delivery, we can see it ensures the code and it can be safely deployed onto a production. We can deploy the code safely to the production environment. Let me consider the continuous deployment. Every change that passes to the automated test and it deployed production automatically. Under the continuous delivery, it ensures business applications and service function as expected. Under the continuous deployment, it makes software development and release process faster and more robust, which means the continuous deployment encourages to build the software and get more release to the clients. Under the continuous delivery, it's every change to the production-like environment through the rigorous automated testing. And the continuous development, there is no explicit approval from a developer, and it requires a developed culture of monitoring. So that is the major difference between a continuous delivery and continuous deployment. And here you can see through the diagram, here this is the version control. Under the version control, which means when we are creating the code among the team, they need to push the code to the common repository, which means the cloud repository, and there the DevOps are monitoring. and they need to build and run the test code. And another stage here, that is staging. Another staging, you need to deploy to a test environment and verify to the performance. And you need to monitor the all codes has been committed correctly, and you need to monitor the test environment, and you need to check the performance. If you are a DevOps, you need to test all of them, and then only after completing the staging, and if there is no any errors under the staging, then only you can deploy the software to the production environment. Then the end user can access the software. And here, the continuous integration is the path between the version control and building. The continuous delivery is the path between the building and the production. And the continuous deployment is the path between the build and the staging. The eighth question is, what is the role of the configuration management in DevOps? You can say it enables management and it allows the changes to the multiple systems, and there are so much of standardizations such as resource configuration, and you can manage the IT infrastructure. And throughout the first and second points, it helps the administration and management of multiple servers, and maintains the integrity and the entire infrastructure. If you are building the software, you need to manage several servers, the backend servers, the web servers. So the management of the multiple servers is an important thing. And the ninth question, the question is, how does the continuous monitoring help you maintain the entire architecture of the system? When you are building the whole system to deliver to the end user, you need to maintain the servers, application server, web server, database server. Those servers should monitor the DevOps and process, detect and identify, then report the faults and threats. And here, those servers ensures all service, applications, resources running on the servers properly. And then it will monitor the status of the server and determines if the applications are working properly. And then it enables, which means switch on the continuous audit and transaction, inspection and control monitoring of all resources and servers. The final question, that is the 10th question, is what is the role of AWS in DevOps? AWS, which means Amazon Workspace. AWS has the following roles under the DevOps, because all of the companies, most companies are using AWS as a deployment environment. So it provides the flexible services we can ready to use, and we don't need to install or set up the software. We can access the AWS through the online in the cloud platform. And another feature is build of scale. We can manage a single instance and scale 1,000 using AWS services. We can pay for a few features and we can access many features. And another thing is automation. AWS provides the automate facility. We can automate the task and the process. Another thing, that is the security. There is a feature to identify and access management. You can set your user permission and policies, then only you will save your data or a system from the threats. And final feature is large partners ecosystem. AWS supports a large ecosystem and it brings the partners. Then you can integrate with extend AWS services. So that is the questions. We will continue the upcoming questions in the upcoming video. Until you can refer other videos under the playlist. Let me meet you in another video. Thank you. Bye.